Welcome to the Unfiltered Path podcast, where we explore life's journeys without the constraints of filters. In a world that is saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering our listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, the struggles, and transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth, to be moved, to be inspired, and discover that you are not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hello, everyone. It's Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker, owner of the Trinity Baker LLC. You can find me on all your favorite social media platforms. I am a mindset coach helping people love the life that they live. Joined here with my co-host.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Jade. I'm an aerialist. That's a fancy term for performing suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus. I'm also an educator, so I teach other people to do it as well. I recently became the host of Maine's first aerial arts competition, nationally recognized. So I'm really excited for this year ahead. And you can follow me on aerialjade.com and most platforms. And we are here with my co-host.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Graham Duval. I am the owner of Valued Productions. My company works to produce and implement video marketing strategies proven to make you more successful with your business, turning strangers into clients using video content. And I'm super excited to be joined with our guest today.
Alex Squatter. I am the owner of Blingle. We are an outdoor lighting design and installation company based out of Portland, Maine. Probably know us best from our work for the holidays with LL Beans, City of Portland, Town of Naples, and quite a few others. However, we are also well into permanent landscape lighting season right now.
I love that. I was
Yeah.
just conversation with my friend the other day about how we rise our vibration so many different ways, like music, our space around us and the people and the conversations we're having. And lighting is a lot of that vibe rising, right? Because I just got like this, I'd turn my screen around, but then everything would fall apart. I got this beautiful tree over here and it's like all lit up. And I've been adding a lot of like warm lighting to my spaces, and the vibe is just already, it's like it's so increasing, and it's so cool to I don't know, can't really measure that stuff, but you definitely feel the difference when you've got some really great lighting. In your work at LL Bean, for example, I mean, I've been there many times. It's freaking beautiful. It's a whole vibrator. It's a whole vibrator.
Yeah, and it's something that we can kind of do intentionally, as you said, like the warm white lighting. That is a lot of what we do, and it's great if you're trying to create either a warm or an elegant kind of a look. But there's a lot of other options, especially when you start delving into color and things like that. There's all sorts of studies on the actual psychology of it. But I like to keep things kind of simple in a lot of ways, and warm white is great, and then but like with a nice multicolored display like LO Bean, we can kind of focus on the fun, or for other people it is more, hey, we're trying to impress, we're trying to look really well put together and professional, and there we might go for a higher Kelvin temperature light rather than a warm. But yeah, no, the positivity of it, and the kind of intentionally choosing the atmosphere that you are going for and surrounding yourself with is a lot of what attracted me to this industry as a whole. So I'm glad you appreciate it, Trinity.
It's absolutely amazing. Alex, you should uh Alex and I have worked together quite a
A
bit,
lot.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really cool to see like a house go from like nothing to having this, like, especially with the gemstone that you do, to
Yeah.
go to this like amazing thing. And
Yeah.
what I find fascinating is like your story, like how you kind of got into this. And I'd love for you to share that if you don't mind, just kind of like
Yeah.
where
No, I
that kind
I
of all
uh,
came
I
from.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Graham. And as I said, the positivity was something that I personally definitely needed. I have probably a pretty unusual path towards entrepreneurship and the independence that I have now. I really started from probably the least independent and free and positive path that you can have. I was career military prior to starting this. I did 4 years at West Point and then 10 years as a U.S. Army infantry officer. I was a lieutenant and a platoon leader in Afghanistan, and then a company commander of about 150 people in Syria in 2019 to 20. And I was a very, very good and effective cog in a very, very big machine. And for a while, and for the first part of my life, I really kind of, chose to kind of trust others to make a lot of those decisions and kind of just do the best that I could in that system. And I think Afghanistan, I started to kind of see that was that like internally, I started to see that might not be the most fulfilling of paths. It was not a particularly useful war. I learned a lot from it, but it is not something that I think really like got a whole lot of good done. And then a few years later in Syria, I was much closer to I guess, the top of what was going on and could really see. And ultimately, I decided while I was there, while I was involved in the Turkish incursion, kind of had to step back and kind of like watch that, and I was not able to do the things that I wanted to do to actually help the situation. That I was going to never be in that position to not be able to help, not be able to do the right thing again. And so I made a vow that I was going to get out of the Army and never work for someone else again. I had no idea how to do that though. And I had never really seriously looked at another job, much less business ownership. And I had always planned on just doing my 20 years in the military and then kind of getting to retirement age. Honestly, probably no different than most corporate mindsets of, hey, I'm going to stash money away in my 401k and work for the man, and then I'm gonna be taken care of by whatever your timeline is. And very quickly realized in a single night that was not going to be what I'm going to do anymore. And I need to come up with a new plan. And started looking into financial independence and all that other sort of stuff, and did a bunch of math and realized that my net worth was almost exactly $0 when you added it all up. And so the traditional retirement path wasn't gonna kind of work out, and so I started looking into business ownership. And when I found the positivity of this industry of light, and I saw that I've read dozens of books, and I really started to realize, and it took me almost a year of researching to realize that like most business ownership is more about your ability to lead, your ability to have vision, rather than technical skills in the field. That can be developed, that can be learned, and I have. You just need to apply yourself to it. But the vision and the drive and the making thing, just kind of make it happen. That's what business ownership was about, and I realized that I could do that. So finally pulled the trigger. Moved to Maine, didn't know anyone. Moved into the room right behind me. You see that door that led to my bedroom for the first 3 to 4 months. Don't tell the landlord, but like in my warehouse, and then got this started. Started with a holiday season. Freeport Village Station was our first kind of big customer, and then got LOB in the second year, City of Portland in the third year, and here we are. And it's finally feeling like it's finally coming together, and that I've actually achieved that independence, and I am doing things that I feel are good and positive, and I am helping people. And it's it was a choice towards independence, I guess. But kind of windy, but I think that gives you a bit of a
That's deep.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for your service, first off. For sure. Yeah, that's amazing.
The amount of awareness you must walk with and you can barely talk about.
That's a really good way to put it a lot.
Oh yeah,
Thank you. That's great. There's a lot of things I don't I don't know much about that. I think most people in America do, having spent most of my career up until doing this in a like I've never had a normal job. Um, but there's also a lot of things that, yeah, no, I am kind of, as you say, kind of aware of, and I've just got a different perspective, I think, than a lot of people from my background.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love your mindset as you went into this too. I mean, you never had a normal job, so you really didn't have something to compare it to. So I think you know how scary this entrepreneurship thing is, but when you know that other side of it, it's even scarier. So you kind of had that like one up of like, I just did really scary shit for many years.
Yeah.
You did a lot of scary stuff that like I wouldn't. So what's entrepreneurship to that, right?
Well, you also have the self-discipline. I mean, if you can succeed in that type of environment, it's safe to say that you'll do well as an entrepreneur. So some entrepreneurs are full of like experience in art and maybe not so much structure, right? And they have to kind
Yeah.
of learn that along the way. I can relate a little bit. Um, so- but I definitely see how you fit the unique mold of entrepreneurship. I love lighting. In terms of like what you chose to go with, because I feel like as I grow just in events or lighting is kind of like that custom, like the topping on something or that fancy
Yeah.
meal, or it's just that little bit of something
It
like,
takes something that's already good and then just brings it to another level. Uh, if it's not a
yeah.
good event, if it's not a good garden, if it's not a good home already, I'll be very honest with the customer. I'm like, we are not where you should be spending your money at, because if you light up something that's not good,
Mhm.
it's not going to do you any favors. But once it's there, once you've got your event set, you're absolutely right. It just like
It's
it
that
can bring it
topping.
to
It's
that.
that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
something that,
Hmm.
yeah. Because some of my favorite shows, so I've performed in a lot of really unique spaces, especially like in Florida, but Maine too. And one of my favorites was, it was one of my first aerial showcases, so I'm emotionally attached. But they had lighting and silks behind us, so our silhouette was constantly reflecting on the wall behind me. It was just
Yeah.
so incredibly impactful. It's some of the best photos that I've had of myself, but I was a new aerialist, so it's just like kind of cute photos, like, you know. Um, and then I was like, this year, I was like, God, I wish I had like a little spotlight because we're in this giant gym and it's colorful and bright because it's the Boys and Girls Club. It's supposed to be like uplifting, but I kind of want the focus to like narrow in. And it was lighting. I was like, I think I could do it with lighting
Oh, absolutely.
because you
Yeah,
can't
I
really
definitely want to be a part of
into
that.
space.
100%. Yeah.
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 Nice.
It's
Mhm.
so it's the topping to an ice cream type of thing. I love lighting. I feel like whenever I hear Mariah Carey, she's always like, "No, the lighting."
We had it reminded me of the we had at my BNI group, we had this day where it's like, oh, choose a theme song for your business and stuff, something like that. I had so many choices with lighting. Like it's I'm not the only person that sees all the poetry and lighting and stuff like that. It's got a lot of poetry for my own life, but
Mm,
there's so many songs. Like I didn't even realize it until I started going through it, but it feels like a quarter of the songs out there either use talk about light at some point, or
Mm,
just like straight up based on it, and I love
yeah,
it. So, mhm.
yeah.
yeah. Heck
Songs about
yeah.
circus are totally different. Totally different.
I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it is fun going through like the Instagram choices because they have like heavy metal, like circus stuff. It's just pretty intense. It's never a dull search. But you're right,
Look,
like
look up
that
Mr.
might be for
Blingle for circus stuff. Mr. Blingle, if you haven't listened to any circus,
okay.
yeah, it's interesting. It's good, but
Play on the name too. You know
yeah,
what? And you know what sticks out about you is your media. I really like your Instagram.
bungle.
It's
Sorry.
spelled
I'm sorry, for mine.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you do, because you're also on this call as the person that absolutely runs all of that. I don't even really know how to log into Instagram. Um, I'll be honest, like again, there are things that I've got perspective I'm good at and all that other sort of stuff. I was taught to fear social media for 14 years. I'm not good at it, and Graham has seriously helped me out with that to kind of
Oh, okay,
portray
perfect.
my story on that.
I love
Um,
Yeah,
how full
yeah.
circle, look how full circle that is. We can't be
that's so funny.
pro at
Mhm.
every single aspect of business. I mean, there's professionals that take over some of that stuff for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you're talking about being a leader in the military and like how you were a cog in a machine. And similarly to entrepreneurship, good entrepreneurs and business owners know like when to delegate certain things and like when to build their team and stuff like that. And I think that's super important because like some entrepreneurs get stuck there, you know, where it's like, I gotta do it all. Like I have to run the show, you know what I mean?
Well,
And
and
like,
I think that goes into some of the psychology that I learned, and
mm,
sociology that I learned along my kind of path. And what I mean when I'm talking about independence, I'm not talking when I'm saying that about going alone, about being
mm,
sole proprietorship and just kind of doing everything myself and such. Uh, you're going to be very limited in what you can accomplish with that. Don't get me
mm-hmm,
wrong, it can be great stuff. There are a lot of kind of solo guys out there. I work with quite a few subcontractors and stuff like that, but you are always going to be fairly limited on that.
mm-hmm,
It's the size of the group that matters.
mm-hmm,
And that goes back to how we evolved to function. Humans were really built around groups of no more than 40 to 50 as their kind of hunting pack.
interesting.
And then about 150 to 200 as a part of their tribe. And beyond that, most real association, like feelings of association, have a tendency to be much less emotionally impactful. People have a much lower ability to really feel like they are a part of it, like they understand and know everyone in it, and like they have a real voice in it. So I see my kind of leadership level ending around that 40 to 50 people side, my
Mm,
real network, my real leadership, and my like where I kind of wanna be. But you can do so much with a group that size when people are really bought in, when they're given their own independence as much as they can, and they understand they have both the clarity and the competence for their role, and they feel like they're both good at their job and that they're in the right position and that like they're happy to be contributing to whatever the mission is. That's, I think, where people are at their absolute best in that small team sort of an environment. And Maine is such a good spot for it. There's not a whole lot of those big giant organizations out there that do kind of end up eating the soul, so to speak.
yep.
That kind of force people into roles that might not necessarily either feel useful or feel like they really understand what they're doing, and that are just less personal. You've got so many opportunities and so many groups here that are focused at that smaller level where people can feel like, hey, this is
Right,
I'm a part of this.
right.
But,
But
Yeah.
that's really the mindset shift that has to happen if you're a business owner, entrepreneur. It's not delegating, it's not giving up responsibilities, it's
mhm,
empowering someone who has
Mm-hmm.
that you're looking for. Like I'm just created a program called the Aligned Entrepreneur, and it's really about getting people out of that hustle and out of that grind and feeling like they have to do it all on their own because we know we're not going to be able to do it all on their own, and teaching them that it's really about leading, and it's about like if we're business owners and entrepreneurs, we are leaders. If you're here
mhm,
and you're successful of some sort, you are a leader. So it's like let's pull those leadership qualities out of you and use
mhm,
those to help grow your business because we're
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff, a lot of people, right? A lot of us start these businesses because it's our passion. And so, what the mindset instantly is when we think of delegating and hiring people is I'm giving up something. It's my baby. It's something that we create and pour our heart and soul in. Who else is going to give it that other
Mm-hmm.
than others? So,
mhm,
it's teaching people to then pass on their passion for it, right? So like I look at my assistant and she's helped me grow significantly. Like I would not have experienced the growth I've had in this past year without her, but it's because I I passed my passion for it on to her, and I highlighted her skills, and I gave her a place to be independent. And that's the leader, right? So that's what I'm teaching in this new program. So I love to hear you talk about the importance of that, because that is our next level growth. We actually have to let go and feel good about it, come from a good energy with it in order to grow. But it's when we hire someone and still have that mindset of
Yeah.
like, oh, that's going to hold you back. It's again, you can have the best business plan in the world, but if up here does not align with what you're doing out here, it's not going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
no, and I've had a lot of thoughts on that over the last 2.5 years. Especially, oh man, I've got a real complicated relationship with that because in the end, I'd say that as I grew, I started as kind of the business, just kind of business owner, trying to delegate everything and be the old commander that I was. Didn't work all that great because I didn't know how to hire yet. In reality, another story, but uh, I took on the lighting designer role for my company and really got into that. And I started being the lead designer in sales myself for a long time now. Because ultimately that was in my opinion the most important and part for me to really be doing. And it was something that it's complicated enough where it was really hard to teach. And finally, I'm at the point in both my own expertise, self-confidence, and the scale of the business where I both need to and am able to pass that off. Um, I was not ready when I first started because, frankly, I didn't understand it well enough myself. There was too much to learn on it still. And again, I didn't know how to find the right people. You guys might actually know the guy that I have recently found, Tom Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Karen has just
Right.
joined the team,
Yeah.
and right now we're actually going through the process of making sure that he's kind of ready to go with it. And I think there's two facets of this that'll actually allow you to both retain the your pursuit of perfection, that will allow you to feel like Trinity, like you do, where you're feeling like you have learned from this, like you've actually made your business better by bringing someone on and starting to delegate, rather than feeling like you're kind of making some sacrifices and it would be better done if you were doing it yourself. There's a couple things that have to go into that. One is the inherent. You've got to find the right person. There's no getting around that. They have to have the inherent ability to they've got to be the right person. Tom is a fantastically artistic person, and that is essential for what I do, because it is so visual. He used to be a makeup artist. He used to be a magician. So he's got this showmanship. He's got this eye for aesthetics. He's got this ability to build rapport with people and understand what they're looking for. Those are inherent things that I cannot teach, and he's coming in with that. He still has to learn the lighting design portion though, and that cannot be rushed. And it has to be structured too. It also can't be like I just kind of keep that the whole time and he just tags along for forever and just kind of helps out as an assistant. And so we have again, this is now something that I did learn in the military. Didn't learn recruiting, but did learn how to relieve and set up a training program for someone to relieve someone in a job. We called it a relief in place. And every time, because in modern military, we kind of rotate out on a deployment. So when we go to war, we would take over for a unit that was already there. Um, and obviously that is a difficult thing to do, swapping out, this large organization for another large organization right on top of it. And so we developed quite the path for, or quite the process for it. We called it a left seat, right seat ride. So first is it's a month-long process. First week, they're just kind of getting settled and kind of getting some explanations, like academic explanations for what is going on, and getting comfortable with, in this case, the office, getting comfortable with the warehouse, starting to see some of the materials. If possible, I'll actually have them help with an install. Um, Week 2 is called the right seat ride. So imagine you're driving. I would still be in the driver's seat on week 2, and they're kind of observing and asking questions. Week 3 would be the left seat ride. So I will transition, and that's really this week. Tom will start taking lead on like the appointments that we have, and I'm going to do the really hard job of shutting up and letting him run it. That's going to be probably the hardest part of this whole thing for me, is not taking over. And as good as Tom is, that is a me struggle. And the and then he can ask questions. And then throughout, and I can kind of help him where he gets stuck and stuff like that. And then there's the fourth week of kind of ongoing support. At that point, he's kind of on his own, but I'm still kind of available there for again when he's got questions, but I won't be necessarily like physically present all the time. But
So amazing. I love you literally learned all of these skills
Yeah.
isn't that wild? So you think about like when you were deep into your assignment in the military, like did you ever think about owning a lighting company?
Absolutely not. Nope. Never imagined this in the slightest. No, no. I was getting out. I was starting to think of all the things I like, kind of was good at, and they weren't great for businesses in general. They weren't necessarily things that I wanted to do. I think the closest one really was scuba diving. I love some scuba diving, but I didn't really want to mix my hobby with how I make money. And I also wanted to go to Maine, where there's not a whole lot of opportunity for that. But and there's a couple of good scuba diving. It didn't seem right. So no, I never imagined this, and never imagined applying these things to this at all.
It's just trusting though. I mean, it just speaks, and I love hearing, this is one of the reasons why I love BNI so much, is hearing the stories from other entrepreneurs and business owners of how you got here, because it is never the freaking path, but we're always learning exactly what we need to learn in that moment for the future. And it's just great to see that. It's a great reminder. And I hope that's what we give our listeners, is that reminder of like, we know you might not be in the space where you want to be. We want there. Okay. So here's your hope and your inspiration that we talk about giving you. Keep going. You have no idea where the skills that you're learning today are going to bring you. As long as you're committed to learning the skills in the moment today, that is the only thing that you are responsible for.
And one of my favorite like quotes from Alex Hormozy that kind of talks about like what we were talking about here today as a business owner is like, he talks about, as the business owner, your dream and passion has to be big enough to encapsulate your team's dreams and passions. So like if they can't see themselves hitting their dreams and like their financial goals under your dreams and financial goals and everything, then you either need to make yours bigger or figure something out, because that's how you build that team. Like you were talking about, like their passions for what you're doing has to fit under what you're doing.
Yeah. You even gave me this advice once. Bigger isn't always the answer, though. It could be just more specific, more detailed.
And that could be the bigger.
Yeah, but I feel you on that. You know what I took from your story so much, because I know my peers here get to see you more than I do. Your story reminds me, just never be scared to be a beginner. Could you imagine if you feared being a beginner at something, you would have just stayed in the military forever?
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people do. A lot of people get to that 10-year mark, and they're just like, I'm just going to keep on doing this because it's all I know. They have no passion for it anymore. And I know it's the same on the corporate world. Trinity, we talked a lot about how similar a lot of the mindsets are, especially when you get into that mid-level and senior officer side of things. Like, it's basically almost the same at that point. And people just get like, hey, this is what I know. This is the safe path. They're freaking miserable.
Yeah. I mean,
they're afraid.
Right. I could have stayed a nurse there will always be nursing jobs, right? But you start to realize that like, hey, I've tapped out here. I've learned the skills that I'm here to learn that this journey is done. And now what's next? And how can I use everything that I've learned to create something new. And you're so right. Like the beginning of this whole program that I'm creating is the first 2 weeks is that deep dive into what is your why. And it's so not the surface level why that we're talking about. It's that deep, huge why that then will ripple to other people coming in with you. And bring you through everything, because our why, like all four of us here, have a strong freaking why, which is why we are entrepreneurs. This is why we push the way we do, and we're committed to what we do the way we are. And we can bring other people with us and have that. You know, you've got Tom, Graham's got tons of people. Danielle, you do this exact thing with all the aerialists that you teach, right? I remember being taught by you, and I saw your vision of where this was going, and that motivated me to get up there on that silk, right? So it's just so cool to see this. It's really great.
It's a little deeper though. So like we think corporate jobs or military or being a nurse, right? These structured things. But when I manage fear in people, it's about being an adult. So I even think if like sometimes if I would have been doing this in my 20s, well, I was, but I wasn't. I live like the business side more now. I embody that businesswoman and community and things like that. I think that there would have been like a fear base. It would have been harder for me if I would have started it earlier. I would have been limited in some way. I think the adult mind gets so fearful of things at a certain point and comfortable and just kind of idles at this space. And so since I manage fear, I realize that it's kind of like a lot of environments, and it takes a lot of self-managing and awareness to live outside of that. That your story definitely shows that for sure. Like that's crazy. But
Yeah, and it's fun. Fear management is something that was a big part of my previous life. And I think that also really helped me because there's obviously there's a lot of different types of fear. And they are all interconnected. Trinity, you were talking about how the things I was doing before was dangerous and stuff like that. And yeah, no, I am a combat veteran. I was shot myself in the leg. I understand the actual like physical danger. The risks of entrepreneurship, of going $500,000 into debt, risking bankruptcy, risking everything that I had built financially, risking setting myself back years on the career side, risking leaving a known path towards like a comfortable life. That is a different but related type of fear. And I think one probably outside of the box, I guess piece of advice I'd have people is practice facing fear. That helped me a lot, especially when I was younger. I put a lot into that. Whether that's rappelling down a cliff, the actual physical side, jumping out of an airplane, going scuba diving, like facing those kind of physical fears in controlled manners, coming out the other side totally fine and having had a great grand old time with your friends, um, that that creates a much easier, it reprograms your brain to be more okay with taking risks, and it's an easy way to kind of like to almost to almost practice taking risks and kind of being okay with it and separating out the okay, what is a real risk, what is actually like a legitimate danger, and what are the chances of it, and then what's irrational fear, and separating those things out. Because risk and fear are very different things. People are not programmed to correctly analyze risks in the modern world. Our
or
brains
take
don't
them.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just reminded me of all the sacrifice we all know we made, and we're just like
Mm.
politely nodding, and we're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was just like
Yeah.
a check mark everything you were saying. I love
Mhm.
Yeah.
that. You also, I love it because now I can see why my students propel in their life and continue to keep coming back is because not I'm removing fear by jumping out of a plane, that concept, but they're able to expand in their everyday life because they're doing something like that. That's why
Yeah.
something
You got
cold
to deal
water
with,
at the
I'm
beginning of
I'm
the
sure you
year.
got to deal with fear of heights all the time for your people and what
Ugh,
you're doing,
they
overcoming that
never goes
with people.
away either. It's
Hmm.
like you got to just sit. I climb to the top every once in a while and just sit there. Just
Yeah.
because like, and I still have to do it. Like I'm no greater than the students. I still
Hmm.
before every drop, my fear, that conversation you have, that like the feelings of inside your actual body, those just never really go away. But my fear to host an event is gone.
Yeah, and you overcome these
I don't no longer feel that though.
as you
I
Yeah.
keep
I
pushing
did
yourself.
BNI so long, like running those meetings both in Zoom and person, that was probably one of the best things I did. You know, it was just 1 year, but I no longer fear the event, I will
Mhm.
say.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
all
Yeah,
about
I'll hold up an event. I can do that.
It's all about continuing to show up, like you said, Alex, and that's where that practice comes in. And it's our hope that this podcast is like uh, a light, so to say, like with our guest here, Alex, a light in that they can show up here and get this insight, and so that they can keep practicing. I hope our listeners are taking some of that inspiration from that. So thank you again, Alex, for joining us. It's been awesome. I appreciate you tremendously. And for all our listeners, I hope you've gotten some value out of this as well. If you want to contact me, you can find me online, Graham Valued Productions. That's VALUD Productions.com, or social media at Valued Productions. Joined with my co-host today.
Hey everyone, Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker. You can find me at my website, thetrinitybaker.com. Lots of free resources. If you want some more information on how to get aligned as an aligned entrepreneur, like we're talking about today, I've got a brand new program that is open for enrollment right now and it ends on April 30th. So go check it out on my website. Joined here with my co-host.
That's me. Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm the owner. Sorry. I'm used. Okay, sorry. My name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. Currently, I am working on an aerial showcase with my homeschool students, boys and girls clubs, my juniors, and my adults. My brand has like 5 sections under it now, so I'm really excited to have another show. Last year, my students performed so much like in the field at basketball games and events within the community that I didn't have one. So I'm so excited to put myself out there again. That will be June 1st. If anyone wants to join, inspire their children by bringing them and seeing others perform. It's also a safe audience because everyone's like referral based. So it'll be a good time. And it's at the Boys and Girls Club in Auburn, where I made a new partnership. And we are here with my co-host or guest. Wait, I'm lost. I don't know where we are in
Today,
the.
guest.
Yes,
I,
our guest. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
I think it's me now. Yep, and my name is Alex Quadert again. You can find me at blingle.com/Portland, Maine. And yeah, would love to help anyone, either a small business owner or we do work mainly residential, especially in the permanent lighting side of things. We can help again take control of the atmosphere of your home or small business on the exterior side, whether you're trying to create a great gathering space outside in your back patio as we look towards these 70-degree weekends, or if you are trying to create like get the front of your house painted in light that you can change with a click of a button to whichever one of these atmospheres that we have discussed. We can do all of that, and we've got would be happy to do a free consultation and design, and you get to meet the wonderful Tom Karen too. And yeah, anytime. Again, blingle.com/Portland, Maine. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Alex. And for all our listeners, make sure that you follow and subscribe where you listen to any podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff for the Unfiltered Path podcast. And we'll see you next week on the Unfiltered Path podcast.